To this month's Lunch and Learn, and we are super excited to bring you another edition. And today we have a really special guest. So we have Lara Price. She is our North Texas regional trainer, and she is also what I consider to be the expert on this subject we're going to talk about today. So with the springtime coming, I know a lot of people like to get outside, and there's a lot more races and 5Ks and 10Ks that people like to go ahead and get in and do with their friends and stuff. And so we thought we would go ahead and focus in on that this month and give you guys kind of some tips and some strategies on how you can, approach your first 5K if it is your first, and if it's not, ways that you can improve, in terms of your times and all that. So wanted to just welcome Lara. Thanks for coming today, and thanks for being our guest expert.
You bet.
And let's go ahead and just kind of start off. Lara, if I was starting off on a 5K, it was my first one, just tell me, what are the steps to start training for a 5K?
There's a lot of kind of first steps. The first thing, and what I think is the most important, is making sure, number one, that you have the best running shoe. So going to a specialty running store is probably the best choice. So, locally, that's Run On. There's the Frisco running store, those type of places. Going to the mall and going to Lady Foot Locker is probably not the best choice, because you want to go to a specialty running store where they're going to watch you walk. Some of them have a treadmill on location that you can run on the treadmill. They're going to watch you. They're going to give you the best shoe. Like, are you a pronator? If you are a pronator, they're going to give you a shoe that works with how you step. And just be aware, it might not be the cutest shoe on the shelf. Just telling you right now. Usually it's the ugliest one. The one that you hate the most is the one they're going to pull off, and they're going to say, hey, this is the shoe that works for you. But the good thing is that it's the shoe that's not going to get you injured. So that's the most important thing, is you're putting a lot of mileage on those shoes. Every time you step down, you're putting 5 times the amount of weight on your feet. So when you're running, so having a good proper shoe is number one, the key. So make sure you got that shoe.
And how long? I know, sometimes people will have a shoe for a while and be doing stuff on the treadmill or outside. How long should they go with before they get the new shoe? Maybe, is there a timeline?
I would say a good timeline is somewhere between 3 to 4 months, depending on how much mileage you're putting on it. I usually know when my knees start bothering me or my ankles start bothering me that I'm losing cushion and I need to go get a new pair of shoes. But if you start seeing them really wear down and tear down, then you know you need it. So, it really depends on how much mileage you're putting on. For a 5K, you could probably go at least 3 to 4 months.
Is it beneficial to bring your shoes that you currently have in for them to maybe look at it to see, kind of give them another idea?
Yeah. They can look at the insole of your shoe, and they can determine, again, if you pronate, if you supinate, if you're a heel striker, if you're not a heel striker, that type of thing. So, looking at the inside of the shoe is a good idea as well.
Great.
Yeah.
And we've got a website that we're going to share with you at the end that's going to give you guys tips and some places you can go and get coupons and stuff. We've got some vendors that we work with, so we'll give that to you guys at the end.
Absolutely.
So let's say I've never ran a 5K. What's the timeline? Should I have a certain time? Where should I look to see, should I just go run one tomorrow or Saturday, this coming Saturday?
It really depends on your fitness level, but I would say just to do it properly is give yourself at least 6 to 8 weeks of good training. It depends on, are you going from couch to 5K? Are you going from somebody who might jog, run, or walk, run a little bit here or there? Maybe it won't take you as long. What I really think is a really good idea is if you can search and find a running program. I know Run On has several running programs. And don't be scared of those programs, because there's a lot of novice people who walk in the door. It's like, I've never run before. My goal this year is a 5K. What do? They can put you in the program. You're going to be running with a coach. You're going to be running with people who are at your level. So, and it's kind of fun because it's more enjoyable to really run with somebody else and have a partner and run with a group. Get to know new people. You get to know people that have the same interests as you. And you're a little bit more motivated to go meet that group, to go run, because you know that you're not on your own. You have a coach that's helping you, that type of thing. So I think if you can do that, but some people like to do it on their own. They like to be a loner runner. It's their time to get outside and think, get all their day situated in their head, or get out frustrations if they have them. So that's the case, and if you're that type of person, you can always go online to look at, novice to 5K running programs. They're all out there everywhere, and find the one that suits you. I mean, there's one that's going to be 3 days a week. There are some that are going to be running 4 days a week. If you're a very busy person and you say to yourself, there's no way I have time to run 4 days a week, but I can do 3 days a week. Well, then here's a program that works for you to get that done. Did I answer your question? Because I think I went off a little bit.
Well, hey, listen, you've got a lot of information in there, and I know it's
Sorry.
hard to just kind of bring it all together, but no, that's great. And you kind of mentioned accountability, and it's very similar to what we have at Orange Theory when we have
Absolutely.
our classes, like with a coach.
Mm-hmm.
How can we use that? Let's say like we don't have enough time to kind of get there out on our own, but we're going to want to use the classes that we go to. Maybe tell us how an endurance class or a strength class will help us with the 5K.
Yeah, so Orange Theory would be great because, and I use Orange Theory as well for my training, for my running. On endurance days, you can probably, depending, again, it's your speed on the treadmill, but you can probably get in a good 1.5 to 2 miles on that treadmill on an endurance day. I mean, that's great training right there. It's also interval training. So whenever you can get yourself out of your comfort zone and you can run at a higher heart rate, those all outs, even those pushes, you're uncomfortable. And then when you go outside and you run at a comfortable pace, you're able to go longer, you're able to go further, because in Orange Theory, you brought yourself up high, right, at an uncomfortable, hard push level, and now you use that interval training to go even keel and steady on that road outside, and it's amazing how much further you can go, how stronger you feel. So endurance days are really good for that. Strength days are great because number one, it strengthens your legs. So if you don't have orthopedic issues and you can work incline on the treadmill, it's really good for you, because if you think about it, and even though we're in Texas, you go outside, there are hills, you know, and my neighborhood it's the street's called Hills Creek for a reason, okay? There's hills and there's a creek. And all the run-on people run my street because of the hills on it.
Gotcha.
So the hills strengthen your legs. And so it's good to have those strength days in there too, because when you go run your 5K, it's not going to be flat.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that as well. Strengthen those legs, get those legs strong. Power days, that's probably your best interval day right there. That's your all-out recovery, all-out recovery. That's really what's going to get you to, to increase your speed if that's your goal, or finish strong, or finishing and feeling good, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not running at your push pace or the
say,
5K. You're not running at your all-out pace.
I was going to say, the all-out is not your 5K. Yeah, when you're running a 5K, you're not doing all-out, right?
No, and you're not really doing your push either. You're mainly at your base. You're running that base pace. And the weight training is great because no matter what you're doing, it's so important to cross-train. So the weights is your cross-training. The weights are going to strengthen the muscles and the ligaments that support those joints that you're using to run. Your hips, your knees, your ankles, all of that. You've got to have a strong core when you run, because you have to be able to be upright when you run and not slouch. So all the core work that you get in Orange Theory, it's going to help you to keep, we talk about that set position, those shoulders down and back, engaging that core when you run. So you're not slouching, you're a little bit more aerodynamic when you're running.
So when we say all that stuff, it is translating into everything that you really should be doing.
We're not just joking around. We're not just making it up to torture you.
Great. Well, listen, there's some questions that come in, so I'm going to go ahead and read those off and see if some submitted questions. Again, if you have any, go ahead and throw them in there, and we'll see if we can get to them. Okay, so this one's come in. It says, what's the biggest difference in running a 5K on the treadmill versus on the streets?
Okay, so the benefit of the treadmill is, like the Orange Theory treadmills, has the flex deck, right? So it's easy on your joints. So that's what's great about, in my opinion, running on the treadmill.
Yeah.
If you don't have a GPS system, I always like to know my pace, right? So if I'm doing an all-out, if I'm doing my base pace, I like to know, okay, I ran a 6 minute, or I ran a 6 minute, sorry, 6 minute mile, no. I ran a 6.0 on the treadmill for 3 miles or for 2 miles. Like, I know my pace. I know exactly, I know all my distances, and everything is right there for me. That's what's great about the treadmill, is that you get all your information and the flex deck is there. Running outside is more true than what you're going to have when you actually race, because you're racing outside. So it's
Yeah.
the elements, it's the wind,
Yeah.
it's the running up hills, it's all of that. And it's a little bit more true to what you're going to be doing during that 5K.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's
yeah.
definitely different. Throws that different element there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we know we always want to respect your time, so we're gonna wrap this up real quick. But there's at least a couple or one or two more questions I want to get to because I think you guys would like to know a little bit more about Lara. And it says, how did you, Lara, first get involved in fitness and running?
I think I've always been in fitness. In high school, I played sports. And then when I went to college, that was my degree, exercise science. So it was something I was very interested in. I always just stayed active and ran. Start off teaching aerobic to the YMCA, you know.
A little step? No.
Little step?
Yeah, there you
Hey, man,
go.
I had the 4-step, okay?
Oh,
Each person the 4-step,
nice.
just so you know.
Nice.
And then when I moved to Colorado Springs to work at the USA Olympic Training Center is when I really started running, because I had to run with athletes, so that was fun. That's where I kind of started, and then it went from 5Ks to 10Ks to half marathons to marathons. So.
Yeah, and just so you guys know that I've known Lara for a long time, and I remember on a Friday be like, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? Be like, oh, well, we just got to go run 10 on Saturday and run 15 on Sunday, but that's it. So anyway, I know you've been doing it for a long time.
It's been a while, yeah.
And that's great. And I think that a lot of people have gotten some great information today. Again, if you ever need any sort of more information, obviously you can reach out to Lara. There's a lot of information with other coaches in the studios, so you can ask them. And let's see if we can get one more question in before we go. How much time should I invest if training for my first K? I think that's a good one to kind of end on. And then,
Yeah, you know, like I said, it really depends on where your fitness level is now and how much time you have personally to invest in it. But I would give yourself somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks. I would find a program that works with your lifestyle. So if it's 3 times a week that you're running, and again, you're going to start out slow, you're going to build your mileage up slow, because if you build it too fast, that can cause injury. So you want to make sure you're building it nice and slow, and those programs will help you with that. So, you know, like I'd say, if you're doing it 3 times a week, you might be running for 30 minutes at a time, 3 times a week, 30 to 40 minutes. Because that might be around the time that it takes you to complete your first 5K.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so prior to sitting down and getting ready to do this, we looked at some races that are coming up, and you can go to dfwraces.com. There's all sorts of races on there, but we looked. I believe there's one on April 22nd.
Mm-hmm. It's a dash in Frisco, and it's on that website.
Yeah.
And I would say if you're going to start this week, then the April 22nd time frame is a great time frame. Gives you plenty of time to train, and you could definitely get there by that date.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
And Orange Theory sponsors a lot of different races, and so we also have a website. It's called Orange Peel North Texas, so it's ntx.com. And there's going to be a tab there that you can go to. I believe it's called Come Run With Us. And there's all sorts of race coupons, and there's going to be some more tips and stuff like that. And you're going to find out where we're going to be at throughout the Metroplex sponsoring. And, you know, some of us actually have done some warm-ups for them, and we continue to do that. So we'd love for you guys to be a part, bring out the Orange Nation, support us, and support the Orange team. And, you know, again, if you got any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. And, you know, we just, I'm glad you guys are here. And Lara, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come sit down and share your expert knowledge. Now, I know you said you got to go run, so we'll let you go. You know, she said she's done running today. So anyway, but hey, until the next one, this is Dave, Lara.
Yep.
We'll see you guys.